Thohoyandou in Limpopo, where about 50 IEC officials have arrived to start their voters' registration drive. Voting stations do not open at 8 o'clock as planned this morning. This comes after residents declared the area a no-go area for the IEC officials this weekend. Residents are protesting against the inclusion of their area in a newly demarcated municipality. The IEC in Limpopo says it's optimistic that the voters' registration stations in Vhuwani will still open today. IEC officials are unable to access registration stations as roads to different villages are blockaded with stones and other rubble. In Mosiuoa village, there are running battles between police and protesters who are preventing IEC officials from operating the area.
We're still experiencing some challenges in some areas where there are blockages and also community trying to fight with the police, but I think police are working on that and the situation is being contained. From here we are going to make it a point that we open all the stations around Vuwani and we get security forces intact and also our officials down there to go and work.
And our reporter Witness Tiva is standing by to give us an update as far as the situation in Vhuwani in Limpopo goes. Witness, good afternoon to you. Give us a brief situation analysis on what's been taking place over the process of this morning in Vhuwani.
Good afternoon, Pearl, and to our viewers. I'm now at the main entrance to Mosiuoa and a number of villages where we earlier saw police officers, particularly members of the public order police, embarking on running battles with some of the protesters. But now the police have managed to drive back the protesters to the village. Now there are still sporadic incidents of public violence and the burning of tires along the road between Malamlele and Vhuwani. So members of the public order police are continuing to maintain their strong presence. With regard to the voter registration centers, we haven't seen a voter registration center that is open in the Vhuwani area, and the IEC, as Ramafalo has indicated, still hopes that at the end of the day they will be able to open some of the voter registration centers in Vhuwani and its surrounding villages.
Now, what have you observed as far as the safety of community members and protesters go this afternoon rather?
Yeah. Yes, with regard to the safety of community members who are not part of this protest are also raising a concern, saying that they feel that their right to register so that they can be able to vote is being violated by those people who are embarking on violent protests, because IEC officials are unable to reach some of these villages where ordinary people are. So it's quite concerning, according to what the feeling on the ground is that the electorate are very concerned about the current situation in Vhuwani. And with regard to the safety, we haven't seen the destruction of property or any other movement of vehicles in the area, except that last night a vehicle was vandalized and the 3 others were vandalized by protesters in the Vhuwani area. So it's a situation which members of various units of the police are continuing to monitor and ensure that there's no further destruction of property.
Now, residents have been protesting against the inclusion of their area in a newly demarcated municipality. Is that as far as their qualms go, or are there any issues that have been raised by the residents of the area?
Yeah, that's their main concern, saying that some of the community members whom we've managed to speak to are saying that they feel undermined by the Electoral Commission for them to come and conduct voter registration in the Vhuwani area, despite that there's still a court case that still need to be decided on the 23rd of this month. So they're saying that the IEC and government needs to put everything on hold in the Vhuwani area in order to allow court processes to unfold, looking at the decision that was made by the Municipal Demarcation Board to get Vhuwani and some parts of Malamlele merged to form a new municipality in the Vhembe region.
Well, that is our reporter Witbooi coming to us there from Mosiuoa village. And now we move on to Apologies. Now we actually go to Witbooi. That was Witness we've just spoken to. Now Witbooi is joining us live, and he's in the Northern Cape to give us an update. Good afternoon to you, Witbooi. Give us a brief situation analysis of what's been happening there and what the qualms of the residents have been about this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pearl. Yes, we know that this is the last weekend for South Africans to actually register and vote for the upcoming local government elections. But now, while IEC officials is actually helping to assist South Africans to register to vote, political parties are out in full force to get people to actually rally behind them and vote for them. Now, the Congress of the People actually started off their election campaign here in the Northern Cape. We know that the Northern Cape basically is the biggest province in South Africa, and the leader of COPE started the campaign off here in Berkeley West, and he is now joining me here in Berkeley West. Good afternoon, Mr. Lekota. You are here in the Northern Cape. You started your campaign off here in the province. We know that Congress of the People was once a popular party in South Africa, but the number actually decreased in the Northern Cape itself. It actually lost over 50,000 members. How are you going to put back the trust in people to actually get them to vote for your party again?
You know, the history of electoral politics in all countries that are democratic shows that electoral choices are never static. The previous elections, national elections and provincial, affected us because the party had some difficulties. It was the very first election in which it returned to the voters. What is clear now is that after we overcame the problems that we experienced at the time, we are now on a very fresh phase. And in fact, the return of large numbers of those who made different choices previously, given the performance that we have been putting up, are returning in huge numbers. And if you take into account the inputs and direction we have been given in the sittings of Parliament, especially our very succinct inputs on the issues constitutional, which are very central to the present moment, the Congress of the People has emerged as the leader in this regard. That is consistent with the reason we set up the Congress of the People, and we said it was in defense of the Constitution. The people of this country want the Constitution in place because it is the only reliable framework within which we can build a peaceful, united nation. And that is accounting for the response of so many. In fact, even the opposition parties are rallying together because all of them recognize the critical importance of protecting our Constitution against those who seem to be determined to undermine the Constitution.
Just a very last question, Mr. Lekota. Are you ready for local government elections 2016?
Well, we are working very hard. I must say that it's a major advantage that the local government elections have now been set back to the 3rd of August. We are working flat out, and in fact our performance in this regard is daily showing that we are going to put up a very strong performance. You must remember that we continue to enjoy the number of 262 councillors in all the provinces of South Africa. There's no province in which we don't have councillors, and that means that we have a nucleus of men and women who are going to raise our machinery to commendable performance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lekota. Well, Pearl, that was COPE leader Mr. Mosiuoa Lekota telling us, actually admitting that the Congress of the People had actually challenges back in 2009 and they've actually lost members, but he is basically telling us that they are ready for local government elections 2016 and they are not going to be deterred by the problems that they actually faced in the past. But with that, it is back to you in the studio.
That was Reginald Witbooi giving us an update as far as those registration processes are concerned in the Northern Cape, joined there by some members of COPE as well as the leader. Now, registration for the local elections in Nelson Mandela Bay have started off sedately this morning. The IEC expects numbers to increase later in the day. Let's now cross over to our reporter Lerato Thipa, who is in Port Elizabeth, for a quick update. Lerato, can you tell us how the registration process have been going on so far this morning and into the afternoon?
A very good afternoon to you, Paul. Right now we're broadcasting from the Westbourne Oval Voting Registration Centre. If you just take a look now, the numbers that you see, Pearl, to my right, is actually the highest number we have seen so far as we're walking around the various voter registration stations in the Nelson Mandela Metro. It really has been slow throughout the morning with a few number of people trickling in and going to register to vote. One of the areas that was feared by the IEC was Walls Estate because of the protests that are held last time during the voter registration. But we have heard from the IEC that this morning and up until now it has really been incident free, and you know that the past 2 days also have been about electioneering. Just yesterday the DA leader Musa Maimane was at Chetty really reading people to go and register to vote, saying that it's time for them to vote for change, to vote for a better life and to vote for what they say is a better governance. And then this afternoon we saw the ANC leader Zizi Kodwa doing a door-to-door in Mission Vale, also finding out what the needs of the people are in that area, and also really encourage them to go out and vote, to cast their votes so that their needs can be addressed. So in the friendly city, it really has been friendly. It's been quiet. Few people going to the different voter registration, but really a low number of people. It's been business as usual in the Nelson Mandela Bay. But as I said earlier on, the voter station that we are right now has been the highest number we've seen this morning. So no incidences. And it is hoped that tomorrow we will have the sun term out. We'll have no incidences. And as it's the last day, people will make their way to the different voter registration stations.
That was Lerato Thipa coming through to us and giving us a quick update as far as the registration process has been going in Port Elizabeth, seeming a bit quiet, but she says for now there has not been any incidents that we need to worry about. And now we cross live to our reporter Zimkita Maqingana, who is in the Eastern Cape. Zimkita. Bye. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Zimkita. I hope you can hear me clearly. Give us a quick update in as far as the registration process has been going in the Eastern Cape.
Stand by.
Zimkita, can you hear me? Well, we will not be getting an update from Zimkita, but we will make an effort to reconnect with her just to get an update as far as the registration process has been going in the Eastern Cape. And that is all we have for you for now. We're going to cross over to our live weather update for you.